what they see is a real Black woman, like she real Black. So maybe let's help her dial that back. So I want to shift to how we're perceived, because one of the things that kind of irks me to my core is anything that Black women, anything that we do is always copied, but those who copy it get praise for it. So for example, we'll have, the Megan Thee Stallions, the Cardi B, they're superstars, so that's different. But when they're out there acting a little bit ratchet or, doing the or whatever, that's them. But when white women do it, it's like, okay, it's ratchet, mouthy, ghetto, all of those negative words when we do it. So that's why I'm wondering, is this just one of those things that we just have to accept that's the way it's always been? White people steal stuff from us and then they kind of capitalize on it? Or do we have to kind of shift the narrative from that a little bit? Christy, I want to start with you on that one.
That's actually, this is a good point, because it's kind of how I look. It's kind of how when I look at Kim Kardashian, and I'm never going to bash another woman. I'm never going to speak negative about another woman. But when I look at her, I'm thinking like, really? I mean, really? Because we're going to be transparent. You're not Black.
Mm-hmm.
You're not Black. And with all respect, I know your husband was Black. Your children are mixed. That's fine. You have a blended family, but know your boundaries. Okay. You're trying to look Black. Your cornrows are African deprived,
right.
Everything about you is driven by a Black woman. You're looking at a Black woman and you're trying to mock a Black woman. So when it comes to that, those are those boundaries to me where I feel like now you're crossing the line. And as far as Megan and Cardi B, I'm like, it was Little Kim and it was Foxy Brown. So before them, I'm not knocking at this point. I'm like, sis, get your money. I just kind of embrace it. I hate seeing it so much. I'm like, we keep our clothes on and still look sexy. I'm like, you can be fully dressed and still get your bars off and still get cute and still be sexy, but it's also too who's behind it, who's pushing it. Like, if you want to sell, you got to take your clothes off. You got to shake your ass for the camera.
Right.
So it's the men that are supporting us. It's the record labels. It's our management. It's our team. All that cycle has to change. It's about who you're surrounding yourself with and your team. To me personally, where that narrative is going to change, because at this point they're like sex sales. We already know that's the narrative that's being pushed, especially with Black women, because I feel like all the others can be fully clothed and still get their bag. So they're not necessarily giving what we have to give. I feel like Black women are always having to be the face of sex.
First of all, Black women, we are the Mecca. We are the pinnacle. We are the mothers. Everything, right? Everything was birthed through us, channeled through us, right? And it is upsetting that when you see culture vultures, and I'm just using that term for lack of a better term, but it's conveying what I'm trying to say. Kristen, you used the Kardashians as an example, right? And I'm not mad at the Kardashians getting their money, right? They figured out the formula and they get their money. However, sometimes it's at the expense of Black women. And I say that because I don't know if you've seen them, but some of them are getting darker and darker, right?
Every year.
Darker and darker every year. And that's not
all
a mistake.
Their features exude the features of a Black woman. Let's just be clear.
Exactly. And I often look at their little Black babies, because that's who they are and what society's going to see them as. I look at them and I say, I hope you're going to do your due diligence by making sure that those young girls know who they are. I also look at their little Black babies who are gorgeous, gorgeous girls, right? And little boys. And I know that they're going to be powerful contributors to society. However, I look at them and I say, wow, was this like planned? Everybody, anyway, that's another, topic for another time.
I hear you.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I do.
Exactly.
Well, and that kind of leads me back to my original point. So, we were over-sexualized. There's historical data of how we were over-sexualized even in slavery. And then of course, hip hop comes along, and now, we got half, it was like, what was it? BET After Dark.
Uncut,
Uncut or whatever. So it was like this,
yes.
Our own men have perpetuated. But again, that and Cameron, I think you'll be a great resource to kind of get your opinion on this, because you work for KJLH, so you see a lot of the music industry. But I still feel like what we as Black women portray And I'm kind of with you, Christian, on that. I'm not mad at us finally saying, okay, y'all are going to over sexualize us anyway, so now we're going to get paid off of it. But when us regular folk who aren't Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, when they start to do it, when Black women do it who are regular, we're seen differently than when white women do it. And that's what bothers me. So Cameron, what are your thoughts on that?
But I will say it is bothersome when I see, you know, that white women or other cultures utilizing and adapting our, you know, love for culture, fashion, for being eccentric. I mean, all of these things are beautiful, right? All of these things were derivatives of us, you know, being enslaved. And when we adorned our hair with gold beads and beautiful bright jewelry, all of that we brought with us, right? All of those things we brought with us. To see those things sort of, you know, amplified in a negative way, it's bad. To me, is a problem. At one point, do we, like you said, Jackie Ray, yes, get your money, and, you know, hey, if everybody else is figuring out the formula, we just go with it and get the money. But on the other side, at what point do we start calling things out? Do we stand up and say, hey, listen, you know, this is who we are, right? This is who we are. But we're not okay with the culture vultures. It's a lot of cultural appropriation happening. And I worry sometimes that we're a little desensitized to a lot of things that are going on, and we're not speaking up, and we're not saying, because we do have power. I see it in my position. I see it in, you know, the music and the artists that I see. We do have a platform. And I just think that sometimes we don't recognize the you know, the power and the weight behind our voices.
But on the flip side, you know, sometimes I hear people still say to me, okay, you probably shouldn't wear those big earrings. Maybe just pick a hairstyle. But then you go on, you know, like you said, the Kardashians, and they got hair down to their booty one day, a little short bob the next, super long nails. And I'm like, what? Wait, you know, and it's just that no, don't ask me to dial back, because what it is, and this is my opinion, of course, but to me, when especially when white people are saying, hey, you know what, maybe you should just pick, and the people who have said that to me, I feel, I could be wrong, but I feel like they've had the best intentions. They've wanted to help me go further in my career. But what they see is a real Black woman, like she real Black. So maybe let's help her dial that back. But when they see a white woman do it, they're like, oh, she's a fashionista. She's fashion forward. And it's very condescending. And I think the only way that we can, as Black women, can combat that is if we stand together, united, and be like, no, you guys aren't going to culturally appropriate us all the time and then make us feel bad for doing that exact same thing. And that's why I think we need to use our voices, and these platforms are absolutely necessary.